Welcome to Voices of Resilience, where lived experience meets bold transformation. I'm your host, Dr. Tamesha Hughes Frazier, and today's episode is a powerful reminder that it's never too late to pivot. Dr. Shante Williams is a Charlotte-based venture capitalist, scientist, and CEO of Black Pearl Global Investments, a $25 million fund tackling health disparities through innovation. A PhD in neuro-oncology turned startup investor. Dr. Williams also made history as the first Black to lead Opera Carolina. She's the author of Black Angels Among Us and a fearless advocate for equity in business, healthcare, and the arts. Dr. Shante, thank you so much for being here with us. I'm telling you, I have been trying to get you on here for so long, but so I'm honored, and I want to start off. I always like to start off with a fun fact. Most of the time, I know that fun fact. So I did. Did you skydive?
Yes and no.
So I had it.
I haven't free fallen sky dove. I guess that's the proper term.
Oh, wow.
Not yet, but I've done all the little fall drop things. There's a couple of videos of me doing the ones that take you way up and fall. But okay, this is on my actual bucket list because I don't know why I'm kind of crazy. I'm a very big risk taker.
Crazy.
Listen, you have to be a bit crazy to do all the stuff I've done in a short amount of time, but it is on my list. So that's a good fun fact. People tend to think I'm relatively mild-mannered, but that's a really good fun fact.
Okay, so we talked about, or what I want to talk about, pivoting.
Yeah.
That word is, it's not a new word. It's one of those things that we start thinking about once we get to 40. And trust me, when I say 40, I mean, I may be 40, but I look 30.
Yes.
And you do too. So with all of the things that you've done, what have you done differently since you've made it to 40?
Well, I'm going to start with the word pivot.
Okay.
I think people have it wrong when they think about pivoting. I think people think about pivoting when they're stuck.
Right.
And I think that's why pivoting gets a bad rap, because people pivot when plan A didn't work out. Or people think about pivoting when it's COVID, or, when they get divorced, or when they can't get a man, or whatever, right? Pivot happens when you're 40 and you feel like, oh, now I'm fatter than I thought I was going to be. Pivot is just bad. It means the life I dreamed of isn't here. And for me, pivoting very early on, actually. So my first quote pivot happened when I decided I wasn't going to stay in the clinic and I wasn't going to be a neurosurgeon, which for some people like, girl, are you crazy? You're not going to make all that money?
Right.
And for me, pivoting really was a decision about the life I wanted.
Okay.
And that was me taking ownership of me. And so for me, we have pivoting wrong. Pivoting is about choices.
Right.
And, as I get closer to 40, in my gym, I love my gym a lot. And if you follow me on social media, you know that I'm always posting little snippets of my workout.
That's good.
One of the things we talk about is what are you grateful for? And I am so grateful for choices.
That's right.
And when I got into my 40s, I'm 42. Looking like 32, feeling like 22.
Can we say period?
Period. It's choices.
Right.
And I think pivoting is about knowing you have choices. When you talk about a pivot, you think about you being the center. And I can go this way, I can go that way, right? I can stay where I am, and thinking about you as the inflection point. A pivot is talking about which way am I going to lean? What am I going to lean into today? Am I going to lean into my creativity, or am I going to lean into being analytical? Am I going to lean into be loving? Am I going to lean into being hard?
Right.
And I think that's what we need to think about pivoting. It's not so much about leaning or making this drastic change about what don't I have. It's about what options and choices do I have.
I love that because, we grew up thinking that we were supposed to be on a job for 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
and that we're supposed to work this job even when this job is working us. We grow up around people where they want to, entrepreneurship is just not an option.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a choice, because who's going to pay your medical bills and who's going to do this? So I like your definition of pivot. I've talked to a lot of women, and I hear them talk about, and including myself, just for full transparency, getting to a point where I'm at a wall, because instead of thinking of all the other things that I could possibly be doing, I'm like, okay, well, this is not working out. Let me go another route. And so I like what you're saying, because it's not always that it didn't work out. Possibly it was the end of that particular opportunity, and it was just time for me to do something else, and I didn't have the courage. And that's what I want women and even men who are watching to understand, that you don't have to just do one thing, and you don't have to say, okay, I'm gonna run this thing into the ground before I decide to do something else.
Yeah.
So what stories or expectations did you have to let go of in order to honor the new direction?
Everybody else's expectations. You know, in neuropsych and psychology, the way the brain develops, a lot of people, you talk about 40 being that point, sometime in your mid 30s, your late 30s, you're shedding other people's expectations of you.
Yes.
And then you start to come into your expectations of yourself. And then you grow into, some sort of letting go, and then saying, I'm just going to do. And so very early on, actually, I started to realize, and this happens really in med school, when you're learning about the body, and ain't nobody else got to do this but me.
That's right.
And that's what I wish so many young people realize when they're in college. Who cares what your mama wants you to do?
Exactly.
Is she the one studying? Who cares what your husband, children, mama, daddy, the people around, they don't have to do this drudgery. So many people hold on to external perception. For me, the idea that people will say, oh, she couldn't. For me, I graduated from college with a chemistry degree in 3 years.
Wow.
I finished one of the toughest graduate programs, where you learn everything there is to learn in med school in 2 years. And then everything, all of the research techniques, which is 4 years in 2 years. I did that in 3 years.
Why?
I wanted to.
Okay.
Because one, it's an integrated biomedical sciences program, and you have to specialize. So I did all of this, and they tell you, generally speaking, and they only accept a few people in the country. There was only, I think there was 3 programs as well. There was one in Alabama, there's one in Michigan, there's one in Ohio State when I was coming through. And I got into this program. At the time when I came in, they had never even graduated a Black person. This is 20.
Oh, so you
2005.
were first.
It was me. There was a small group of Black students, one Latino, I think one Asian person. We were a very small group of people.
That's awesome.
This hadn't been done. 2 on the MD PhD track. Like, we were a small codified group. I had to choose a specialty and go through, and some of us were going to go on to be MD PhDs. One of my best friends to this day that was in that program is now an emergency room doc. He just moved back to Chicago. He has a medical degree and a PhD. I specialize in neuro-oncology, going into novel treatments to stop brain tumors from spreading through the brain.
Wow.
I did what's typically somewhere between a 5 and 8 year program, finished in 4 years. So the idea that my biggest fear was people would think I'm not smart enough to finish, I won't curse on your program, but forgive them, man.
Listen, let me tell you something. I mean, this is just like greatness. So with that being said, were you the first in your family? Wow. So tell me about that navigation piece. Like, I mean, going to college, I mean, what's on your mind? First of all, we already know you're a genius. Okay. I mean, I think in the first 5 minutes we've been proving that we have genius work here. But naturally, taking on this task, what's in the back of your mind that's home, that's pushing you through?
I will say my parents are amazing. My family is amazing. And I tell, I was writing about this earlier. I come from, quite frankly, one of the most amazing families. We grew up. I heard one of my very good friends say this. She said, "I didn't know I was poor till somebody told me."
That's right.
Because I had everything I needed.
That's right.
And I honestly hate the idea when people say I was the first person to graduate from college. Mm-hmm. That's true. That's factually true. But it's not because I was the smartest or anything like that. Like my parents, we grew up in public housing, or they grew up in public housing, and my mom had me as a teenage mom. My parents were teenagers when they became parents, and they did everything they could to make sure they raised their children. They got out of public housing. They were not going to be on public assistance. They were going to make sure that they bought a house.
Right.
They got me and my sisters through. I was in, at the time it was academically gifted, then it became international baccalaureate. I mean, my mom, as a 15-year-old mom, was doing all of this, made sure we were in, the what were they, magnet programs.
Yes.
I mean, we did all of this. My sister was in ROTC. My little sister was incredibly talented at basketball. The pressure wasn't actually there, that pressure to excel and achieve. They was like, do your best.
That's all we ask.
And
right.
Live up to the potential God gave you. Mm. And that was the wind in all of our sails, right? So we're all excelling in a way that didn't feel pressurized. And that helped me to get to where I was going to get to. And there's a real funny story. This is a real fun fact. I have this Post-it, and it was from 11th grade. It's a chemistry teacher, and I had amazing teachers, and I went to public school. And she gave me an F. Mm. And she said, "You're smarter than this." I was a lazy student, frankly. And she knew that I could do the work, and I used to do the work walking in class. And she gave me the F, not because all my answers are wrong, because my answers were lazy.
Wow.
And she said, if you are going to achieve, it's going to take blood, sweat, and tears, and you are better than this.
Yes.
And I was angry about it. Her name is Nancy Sylvia. And she
to this day,
I'm just like, and she was like this tall. But that, for me, that was the kind of push I was getting of people saying, you are better than this.
Right.
When my parents would be like, nah, I know good and well you can do this. I was an athlete. My dad would come to every game. He never missed practice. He got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to work every day to provide for his family.
Wow. That is wonderful.
I knew by the time I hit that finish line, my dad was going to be there. When in the IB program, you got a lot of work. My mom would be like, okay, you need to go to bed. Who typed my papers? My mom. This is too much work for a kid. I would write them. She'd be like, okay. To this day, I'm still kind of a crappy typer, but my mom typed my papers, right?
I love that,
though. That's the kind of family support. So by the time I got to school, we figured out a FAFSA. We figured out how to get through school. I went to an HBCU. All of that to say, getting to the point of getting to a college, getting in, making sure that I stayed in. I got care packages, and people were like, ooh, Shante, Mama packed up some stuff for us, right? All of that was a family effort, right? Okay. I feel like we all got a degree. Getting to the Ohio State University, national champs, getting there, my family drove up there to see me graduate. My dissertation, my nephew asked a question. He was 4 or 5. Youngest question ever asked at Ohio State at a dissertation, right?
I know that's right.
That's who we are. Mm-hmm. That's the excellence that I come from. I'll get teary talking about people.
But that's wonderful, though, because it does take a family.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. I'm from Cincinnati. So, nothing like the Ohio State, but it is a family thing. Yeah. And you've got something that a lot of what I see from my students, they don't have. But look at how far it can take you, because I feel like most of the time you don't have to be blood to be family.
Absolutely.
You just have to have a heart that wants to support. But that is wonderful, because I look at you, doing your thing, and I want to know where you're from
Yeah.
and what brought you to Charlotte.
I'm from Charlotte, baby.
Really?
704.
704.
Gotta throw up the foes, man.
Oh my goodness, homegrown. Like, they call y'all dinosaurs. We don't see y'all roaming them.
We prefer unicorns.
Okay, I will take the unicorn, y'all special. And it's rare. It is rare to see someone from Charlotte. And I just give y'all so much respect, because if it's not for you guys, people who are moving here, which we're coming by the droves. I've been here for over 20 years.
Yeah.
It changes the seasoning and the flavor, and you are here to remind us, like, we're going to keep it like this. We're going to keep it real. So tell me this. You are, to me, a powerful Black woman who is opening the doors, going into different places and spaces. What is the most misconception that people have of you?
Well, probably 2 or 3. One is people think that I stop one thing and start another one.
Okay.
So that I'm kind of, some people think I'm flighty because of that. Oh, she was in medicine, now she was in investments, and then now she's in the arts. And nope, they all work together. Mm-hmm. I still run my investment firm every single day. It's still thriving. I raise money every day. I consult with people. I still do medical. People still call me for medical projects. People still reference my papers from 2010. I still do that. I still teach. I teach a business class. I have to teach tonight. It's all a part of the story. So this is why when I talk about pivoting, I'm really leveraging all of me.
I like that word. Let's turn the P to the L.
So it's when when you're, you've seen that little, if you box and you box at home, you have that little bag and you hit it one way and it pops back up to the middle. That's how I like to think of myself. Mm-hmm. So I'm leveraging all of my skills. If you go to business school, they talk about the tools in your toolbox. If you're a psychologist or psychiatrist, you talk about the tools in your toolbox. The biggest misconception is I have to either use one tool or I put them away and then I never use them again.
Right.
I use them all.
I love that.
All day, every day.
Every day. I love that. I wanted to talk to you about investing.
Yes.
And when we talk about investing, especially in this economy where everything is so uncertain, I wanted to see if you can give us some pointers and some insight on, how we need to do and move our money, our dollars.
And this is for, I'm a Black woman. And people use the politically correct term, people of color. If we Black, we talking about Black. I'm talking about Black. I do want to say specifically, there's a very big misconception. One, you got to wait till you have a lot of money to invest. Get that out your head. 2, people wait till the economy is booming to get in. Mm-hmm. Millionaires and billionaires are made when things are under the ground. Where do you think the opportunities come? It's when there's uncertainty. It's when the economy is shaky. You hear buy low, sell high. That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Our problem is this, and this is a blanket criticism of not of Black people, of human nature. The human nature is this: when it's sunny outside, we partying. That's when you should be saving, not when you should be investing. That's when, Uptown, for example, when you see all those cranes, people think about investing. Oh, I should grab some property. No, if you see the cranes, it's too late.
Right, it's high.
That's when it's high, right? It's when you don't see the cranes that those prices are falling. You know why? Because they're not building anything. So people are like, "Ooh, I'm going to sell off. I don't have any money." This is when you look for the opportunities. This is when business owners aren't selling. The customers are scared. All of a sudden, this is where you need to start leaning on what do you know? What are people really thinking about? This is where businesses who are starting to fall out are looking to sell. I have acquired whole businesses for less than $100,000. This is where you and your 5 friends that's got $10,000, instead of going to Jamaica for a week, all of a sudden y'all have enough money to go buy a building. Y'all have enough money to, come in. And when we think about all of the things that are becoming unstable, this is a great time to jump in and acquire land to build on. This is a great time to buy a building. This is a great time to all of a sudden sweep up a business and retool it to fit your needs.
Great, great. I think I asked you this question, and I wanted to make sure that I said it right, that I asked you right. So, in public leadership, how do you evolve authentically without feeling like you have to explain every step?
So, authenticity. We hear that word a lot. I think sometimes it gets really overused. I have to live with me. I have to be the one that doesn't shriek. Sitting in public, a lot of times people have really large expectations of what they expect you to be. People expect me to be the loud Black woman or the angry Black woman, right?
Really?
Of course. People will try to push you there. I feel like that tends to be, people will try to goad me. I like to say a lot of times, I'm not a nice person. I'm a kind person.
Yes.
I wear a crown, not a halo. Do not push me. I do have emotions. I get to be angry. As a public person, though, I have measured responses. I know when people are testing me. Authentically, though, I'm going to be Dr. Shante. I'm going to be Shante. I get to have a sense of humor. I get to be me. I don't have to fit the mold of whoever my predecessor was. I don't have to fit the mold of, for example, I'm in opera, which can be incredibly limiting. I get to define what it is that I am going to do. And I think the one thing people don't do, generally when they fit a public role, is define what it's going to be for them. So the first thing I did when I came out is said what this role is going to be for me. That made a lot of people uncomfortable.
Oh, well.
Get used to uncomfortability.
Right.
And I think that's what I did. And then I had to tell the people around me, if y'all can't be comfortable with being uncomfortable, then y'all might need another job. And I think that's where authenticity, people think it's easy to be authentic because it's you. No, it's not. It is uncomfortable for you because people are going to react. People think that you being authentic is going to be easy.
Right. No.
It's not.
It's not. I'm going to say this, and it's so appropriate because I love the opera. Always have, always. I went to performing arts growing up.
Nice.
But I enjoy it more now than I. And it's all about, to me, you created a space. You know what I'm saying? We were going, but it's a party now. You know, like it's a great opportunity for me to enjoy something that I love without, the being uncomfortable and owning my right to participate. And so I appreciate you doing that, taking on that other area in Charlotte. And so I have asked you all the questions that I have thought of to ask you, and I appreciate you so much for being here today.
Absolutely.
And thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a little inspiration today. Until next time, stay strong, stay inspired, and keep building resilience.